Wow, what a handsome boy I see.
Mm-hmm.
Come stand in front of the camera so they can see us.
Here he is.
Are we waiting for the student? I want to wait for the neighbor across the road. You can wait 2 more minutes.
Stephen. Just you can't.
Rhonda, can you hear me?
I hear you.
She's in the dark. You know you're in the dark?
Huh? Who's in the dark?
One lady.
Oh, I see Myers off to the side, but Myers, I see some muted audio there. Hello, Oma.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Thanks.
Good.
Hi, Mom. Mazel tov.
Exciting.
And to you.
Hi, Em.
I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna go in again. Leave.
Okay? shall Abraham Avinu. Amen. Change Bris. Change Sonny, the state of the Uber and Mass and Faith. Mazel Tov. Then on the other side. Towards our Ari, take the towards our now. Holding one.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam b'nei hagofen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidashini b'beten. V'chol b'sheirei som b'tzetzot chosam b'oiveris kodesh. Al kein b'schazos, ein chaysh al kein tzurenu. Taveil hatzididus sheirenu mishachas. The man Israel shall son give Soreinu. Baruch atah Adonai, Ereis Haberigis.
Amen.
Eloheinu v'hamis nukayenis hayeled dasel yavivu l'Yimai. In karei shemai b'Yisrael.
Binyamin Reuven.
Binyamin Reuven ben Rebbe.
Arya
Yosef. Is macho v'yitzei chalot so v'sogeni moed b'fridik no. Kakol is macho v'yitzei mech v'sogeni v'natech v'ne'ema. V'ever lai v'elam is b'seses v'zomayi. V'imala v'zomayi chayi. V'imala v'zomayi chayi v'ne'ema. Zochal l'olam b'nisoi dov tzivli alem doil. Asher karatz Avraham Moshe leYitzchak. V'yamidel Yaakov l'chayk l'Yisrael b'Yisrael amine'ema. Hayom ol Avraham es Yisrael b'nei ben shminas yamim. Kasher tzilo Yisrael Elohim. Haydu l'Adonai kitay v'yidei l'am chastoi. Haydu l'Adonai kitay v'yidei l'am chastoi. Binyamin Reuven zeh hakotoin l'adayim yihiyeh. Kishem shenichnas labriyis, kein yikani l'seira l'chupa l'masim etoivim.
Mishever Havasen Abraham submission of the Shlomo. V'rek Rav Ezrach Hanimol, Binyamin Reuven ben Madina Brokav, Babush nichnas labris, Nichnas labris kein yikanes l'toiro, לחופו למעשים טובים ונאמר, אמן. עלינו לשבח, אדוני נאמר אלינו מלך הכל העורף, ויאמר ידנו יפה דשמו יפה. Dan is gedacht, ich mir aber. Amen. Nur mal die Rock, ist ja mich auf das Reichon, wenn von Teil von der Israel da genommen von Korin in Rom. Amen. Ich mich gedacht, das war was man zu sagen. So da ist ein Exalausch mit der Schaf, da ich kommt die Versorgung, ich habe eine Information an mir an Mari Rom. Ich du mal aber mit Schmal, da einmal in der Israel in Rom. Aber ja, sehr schon mal in der Israel in Rom. Also da baby to Daryl, back to Tana, back to mommy.
Man gebrochen hat Sloch und Nachas.
Amen.
Vermogen sich schon.
Well done, guys. Your question now? Okay.
Okay, so if everyone can just stand back, I'm going to.
Stand back. Sit down.
I'm going to lower my mask a little bit so I'm not muffled.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for the heads up.
Right. Can everyone hear me? Can you hear me outside? Okay. So I'd like to start by thanking Coach Bofu. I'd like to start by thanking Coach Bofu for bringing us to this moment and for the chasadim that he showers on our family. I'd like to thank my wife for everything she's done to bring us to this point and continues to do to make sure our children are brought up with love and true Torah values. We'd like to thank my parents, my in-laws, all of our siblings for everything they've done and everything they continue to do from near and afar. I'm sure no one's surprised by the name. There's no secret that I always wanted to name a son after my opa, Benjamin Robert Sussman, who was exceptionally close with since I was born until just after we got married when he passed away. When Shmuel was born, where are you, Shmuel? Yeah. When Shmuel was born, we didn't know what to do because I wanted to name him after Opa, but I also wanted to name him after my father's father, who passed away when I was much younger. So my wife suggested that we ask my mother's brother what he suggests. He gives us a lot of answer. And he liked the idea of us naming after Opa, but he encouraged us to name after my father's father in the schus that we should be able one day to name another boy after my Opa. When Sarah Leo was born, we weren't sure if this bracha would be Mekayim, but Hashem never held back. And Baruch Hashem, we reached this point. I was learning last week with our neighbor Jeff, and he showed me something that made me think of the South African community. In last week's parasha, we read that Hashem offers a blessing and a curse. A blessing for doing the mitzvahs. I mean, there's someone who wants to come in. A blessing for doing the mitzvahs, and a curse for not doing the mitzvahs and following after avodah zarah, idol worship. Rashi tells us that someone who follows idol worship, they denounce the entire way of life of Judaism. And he says more specifically, that someone who affirms idol worship, it's as if they denounce the entire Torah. The entire Torah. There's nothing to start. It's not like one Avera you do, you don't do. That Avera denounces the entire Torah. But in the converse, this week we see differently. Not differently, we see the opposite. When the Kohen gets the people ready, when the Kohen, that's your sister. When the Kohen gets the people ready to go to war, he says, Shema Yisrael, that's him craving my Yom LeMilchama. Shema Yisrael, hero Israel, you're getting ready to go to war. Why is he using these words, Shema Yisrael? What's he referencing the Shema for at this time that you're going out to war? It's our most fundamental expression of Jewish belief. Why is he saying Shema Yisrael and calling the people to war? What's the connection? Rashi tells us, even if you bilvad, even if you don't have any other merit other than saying Kriya Shema, it is enough to be saved. What makes saying Shema enough to be saved? That even if a soldier has no other merit, that saying Shema, that if he has the mitzvah of Kriya Shema, he'll be saved. The reason the Ber Besadeh tells us why. He says that when you say Shema, we're announcing Hashem is one, and therefore denouncing Avodah Zarah. By saying Shema, the act of saying Shema is denouncing idol worship, and therefore the one who renounces idol worship fulfills the opposite of what we said earlier. That someone who denounces idol worship is as if they affirm the entire Torah. They're saying they believe in the entire Torah. If the converse works, then this works too. And while in many places, and further, if this person happens to do Averos, that's the Yetzer Hara. Like this person, he believes in the entire Torah if he says Shema. In many places in the world, Judaism was watered down and changed. Judaism was changed to fit the people that what they could handle. But South African Jewry didn't believe in that. South African Jewry held tightly onto Torah true Judaism. If they were practicing it or they weren't practicing it, they said Torah is emes. Whatever it was, the generation of my grandfather believed in that Torah was true. Okay, they might not be holding, and this is definitive of that generation. And they proudly declared Shema Yisrael, never considering that his Torah that Hashem and his Torah were anything less than perfect. And that's why their children were pioneers of the Tshuva movement. And they themselves continued striving. They were special people. They continued striving. As a child, I remember having to keep quiet so Opa could daven on a bench. I remember Opa's excitement at getting new tefillin or his excitement at starting to wear tzitzis in his 70s. I remember sitting next to him in shul on Shabbos and listening to him daven or read Daf Torah, and I remember him teaching me to say Shema. My wife and I hope that this Binyamin Reuven will have that same pure knowledge of the truth of Hashem and his Torah, and that Kashem Shenichnas the Bris Kenigan is the Torah the Fupel Masin Torah.
Mazel tov.
But he's saying he made you keep quiet during davening. You're making up for it now. I have lots of nachas.
Amen. Thank you all for coming. Thank you. You can unmute everybody.
Hey.
Everybody.
Mazel tov, Ari Amoni.
All right, here we go.
Mazel tov. Mazel tov and Simon tov and Simon tov.
And Mazel tov.
Mazel tov. I have. They all have to unmute.
Mazel tov.
Come stand here with me inside too. Now wait. You can stop at the video. They can see you.
Want to wish you Mazel tov and any simple and any good things.
Mazel tov, Mari, Moni, kids.
How do you get on?